Yo guys, and welcome to another Spore creation video. And for today's creation, we're going to be having something very different here. So, this is my interpretation, or my attempt at recreating the Imperial II Star Destroyer from Star Wars. And as you'll see in the title, this is unfortunately an unfinished creation because I actually originally started this creation back in February 2018. So it's been almost, well, like a year and a half now. I nearly said almost 2 years since I first started making this. And like I said, it's completely unfinished. So you're probably wondering, oh, well, okay then, so why am I making a video about this? I first started making this creation back when I discovered that with Dark Injections, I could have not just complexity in the creature editor, but the other editors as well. And that those creations could actually be saved pretty stably, actually. Like, we've since explored it a lot. You see, make a couple of mechs and a couple of other various creations in the building and vehicle editors, where the complexity meter is just so by far insanely expanded, and the creations actually save. So of course, over the course of time, I was working on this Star Destroyer here. And like I said, on and off over the course of a couple of days, and in particular, certain features such as a whole triangular shape, let me just say, were an absolute nightmare. It never occurred to me how gosh darn difficult it is making a triangle in the editor. Oh my goodness. As you can see currently here, I had to make a frame. Fortunately, I had all this complexity because I sure as heck needed it. I had to make a frame here, and then by using various stacking square blocks, or like, I think I used like a whole variety of different parts here and there, just really experimenting and trying to figure out which is best in the end. I had to stack like lots and lots of very small flat squares and rectangles over the frame and just eventually build it up further and further until I eventually had a solid frame. Like I said, it took a very long time and a lot of experimenting. And as you can imagine, it's a little bit hard to work on this same kind of creation for such a long time, especially as the vehicle editor is one of my weakest editors. I'm not the most confident at it. Even if I'm recreating an existing idea and not something from, you know, my imagination, I still have a very hard time doing it. I'm not quite as fluent. So like I said, took breaks here and there, which eventually, unfortunately, ended up being the case where I took such a long break from this, working on other creations, that over the course of the last 2 years, I have since reinstalled Spore. I think I've rebuilt my PC entirely since then, which has thus meant I lost the original creation. And I've had this footage sitting in my hard drive just ever since, you know, kind of just sitting there stagnant. I didn't really have the heart to delete it because, as you'll see throughout this video, I really did try and go into some crazy detail. The fact that we've made it this far in and we're still working on a done frame, it goes to show I really did try hard. In fact, it seems I've actually restarted the frame. In fact, I have, that's right, because one of the details of the Star Destroyer is that around the edges, around the outer rim, it actually goes inward slightly. It's got like a bit of an incline or a bit of a concave thing going on, and that was like just a very, very minute, small detail that I noticed, I knew was possible, and therefore I didn't want to skimp out and skip it just because I ended up trying to add that into this as well. And like I said, once again, I really just, you know, lengthened the process significantly. That being said, it wasn't just the frame and the outer rim that gave me difficulty or that I spent a lot of time and attention to. It was also certain other areas as well. One such example is that by using all the various different rectangular parts, like I mentioned earlier, to create the overall, you know, the overall chassis of the creation, that did also mean that I had to use like all sorts of different kind of textures and patterns as well. The coloration wasn't really quite as simple as having one great big block color or block texture. I had to like really think about how they intertwine and how to interact with each different panel. So that was another interesting thing. And from what I remember, the last thing I actually got around to doing for this creation was the engines on the back, all the little divots and gaps along the outer chassis, and actually was the cockpit, I believe. No, I don't know the technical terms, bear with me here, but the open area at the bottom of the Star Destroyer that allows the smaller ships to fly in and out. Like basically like the little star, I think it's called like a dock. Yeah, it's probably like the dock underneath it. That was a particular part that I just spent a lot of time trying to just, you know, make look good as well. since making hollow creations in Spore, as well as making triangles is really, really difficult. Making hollow creations is again very, very difficult. I could have easily just had the area, you know, just darkened, or just you know, like get a single dark rectangle, make it closed or whatever. But no, I decided to actually make it hollow and make the entire thing, you know, actually like properly 3D. As well as in other areas as well, I've made certain panels, like at different levels. You can just see like the height, the changes and such. I guess what I'm getting at here is I really spent a lot of time working on this, and I think it'd be such a shame just to let the footage go to waste. So guys, I think I've, you know, kind of explained this enough. I'm not going to be able to talk over the entirety of the footage, so I think I'm going to end it here, but the rest of the footage is now here for you guys to show, because like I said, I do think it's quite unique, because it really goes to show like just raw trial and error and just how long it took for me to figure out certain techniques. How this particular creation, unlike a lot of my common creations nowadays, this one you really do see the struggles. You see me repeat a lot of techniques, you see me repeat a lot of, you know, trial and error. Again, I just think it's interesting to watch. So guys, I'm gonna stop talking, let's play some music. As always, thank you very much for watching, thank you for listening, and I do hope that you find this very interesting. And hey, you never know, maybe I'll try again.